Hey chickies, and welcome to the Fully Booked Penguin channel. Today I am doing my TBR spin wheel challenge for March. Our last few months have been super duper busy because I've been getting my book ready to publish. Here it is. Here it is. I write under Hannah A. Finch. This is my debut novel, Sorry's Blade. It is book one in a historical fantasy, non-magical series called Umbralands. And it goes live on the 17th of March. I have a Writing Nook episode all about it, so if you want to check it out on that one. Anyway, I've been working on this. I am extremely tired. The chronic illness is chronic illnessing. And yeah, so go check out the book. If you want a copy, there's ebook and paperback available. I hate marketing, so that's all we're going to do. And now we get to go on to the fun part. I actually had a week with a friend of mine came over and we decided we would do a choose each other's books for each month. So we have 10 books total, and then out of those 10 books we choose one. But we did a little challenge in that we chose a good prompt and a bad prompt, and then we rolled the dice, and if we got a 1 to 10 we got the bad prompt, and 11 to 20 we got the better prompt, and then we chose books to match those prompts. So I have a little wheel here of all 10 that my friend prompted and chose, and so I'm just going to spin wheel it. Now if it is a long book, I rolled poorly and I got the longest book on my TBR, which I feared was going to be June, but I had recently added a fresh book to the list which was longer. So if I get that this month, we're not reading it because I'm going to veto it because I do not have the energy and I'm releasing a book. So I'll be up to shenanigans. So we have our little spin wheel here and we're going to see what I get for it. A little reflection for you. The Lives of Vampires and Slayers by Shea. This is the first book in the Magiford Supernatural Series trilogy, which is going to be Magic on Main Street. So in this one, we are following a vampire slayer who has to join forces with a vampire, and I assume a political intrigue plot happens. I've been making my way through Shea's list of the Magiford Supernatural City series. So we did the first one, which is Blood and Mercy. Something of Blood and Mercy. Then we have Court of Midnight and Deception. Then we had Pack of Dawn and Destiny. And now we have Magic on Main Street. You can look at my book until I get it up and working again. Isn't it pretty? By night, they fight in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. By day, they are friendly next-door neighbours. Neither of them know that their alter egos are arch enemies. So she has a night shift. It's a vampire slayer. It's a family business. She doesn't really get along with the squad. My greatest goal might be to win over my squad, but if this vampire doesn't back off, I might not live long enough to achieve it. There we go. So we have Connor and Chloe. Chloe and Connor. So that is our first book on the list. Now we get back to our regular schedule of spinning the wheel for our prompts. Okay. Our first prompt is going to be new author. I've read them before. Read that one. Read. Technically, this one, but it is a chunky one. We have Earl and Fairy Manga. I do have the novel on my list as well, but I did manage to find secondhand the manga. There's only 4 volumes in it, so it's really short and it doesn't cover the whole story. That's why I want to look into the novels, which are getting English translation, but they're only ebooks. Earl and Fairy Manga Volume 1, which is by Ayuko for the story and art. And the original concept, which is the original story, is by Mizue Tani. You have the first book of the Mr. and Mrs. Darcy mystery series by Carrie Bebris, and it is Pride and Peril, or A Truth Universally Acknowledged. This is a historical mystery series. Then we have this chunky one, which is Lord of Mysteries, and this is by Cuttlefish that loves diving. This is part 1, The Clown. I am interested to read this one. I know a friend of mine reads it, but I have no clue. It's a little long for right now, so we're going to put that aside. I need light reading this month, and since we already have the other one, we're going to go with Earl and Fairy. In The Earl and the Fairy, we have Lydia Colton is a fairy doctor, one of the few people with the ability to see the magical creatures who share our world. During one of her rare trips to London to visit her father, Lydia's quiet life is suddenly transformed when she is rescued from kidnappers by a mysterious young man. Edgar Ashenbert claims to be descended from the human ruler of the fairy kingdom, and he urgently needs Lydia's help to find and claim his birthright, the legendary sword of the Blue Knight Earl. Things will never be the same for Lydia as she is pulled into a dangerous quest against dark forces. And I believe there's a little cat companion. That is our second choice for the video. Right, prompt number 2 for this month of March is going to be lowest rated, which means I must go to Goodreads and check. Okay, I checked Goodreads, and actually the lowest average rating was actually Pride and Peril by Carrie Bebris, so we will get to this one as well. It had a 3.66, which isn't super low, but it's definitely not in the 4s and 5s. In this one, we are following the Darcys as they are recently married, and the lovely Caroline Bingley, I wouldn't say she was exactly lovely, but anyway, is engaged to marry a rich and charismatic American. Unfortunately, this windswept courtship is marred by many strange events. So they're all wrapped up in a mystery plot. These books follow a different, book from Jane Austen, but the Darcys go through it all, so they're the main characters, but they do see characters, like side characters, from the other books. And there's mysteries afoot. So, that is going to be our book number 2, is Pride and Peril by Carrie Bebris. The book 1 of the Mr. and Mrs. Darcy's mysteries. Now we get book number 4, spin number 3. Standalone. Can the standalone be in a series? I've decided to go with a series of standalones. So it can be read as a standalone or as a series. So I'm going to pick up By His Grace and Favour by Christina Dudley again. I did have this on another list, but I never got around to it because life. So this one, this is about the Barstows. While a series of disasters strike the Barstows, eldest daughter Adela devises a secret plan where she will marry their elderly benefactor, Lord Dare of Perryfield. Tutor Gerald Wetherill faces struggles of his own, determined to shoulder his way into respectable society. He cannot let anyone draw too close, lest his own secrets be discovered. And clearly the person he must avoid above all others is the observant Miss Barstow. By His Grace and Favour is a clean, wholesome, traditional Regency romance. First in the Lord Dare's Dependents series. Now, we can go into book 5. I'm doing 8. Will I get to 8? No. Probably not. But we're going to do 8 books total. Has the in the title. Our first option is Nancy Drew Mystery Stories by Carolyn Keene, and this is The Mystery at Lilac Inn. Then we have a manga, which is Twisted-Wonderland. This is Book of Hearts Love You, Book 2. And option 4 is Into the Flames by Robert Elmer. This is a Christian book. This is a manga fantasy. And this is a classic mystery middle grade. This is also middle grade. I think we're going to go with Twisted-Wonderland. My friend and I just watched the first season of the anime, and so it will be intriguing how different the manga is. It was very different from the first volume, so we'll see. Also, I have to get these back to my friend at some point, so I should read them. That is our next book on the list. Book 5. I Can Count. It's always good when you can count, because sometimes I can't. Okay. Prompt 6, that makes this. Well, prompt 5. Book 6. Sad book. I don't feel like a sad book, to be honest. I need joy in my life. We'll be doing that one as well. I think I vetoed it earlier too. Seasonal read. Currently I am still in summer, but it will be autumn. It will be autumnal by the time March arrives. For me. I'm not sure whether Anne's House of Dreams, which is book 5 in the Anne of Green Gables series by L.M. Montgomery. I'm not sure if this is technically set in autumn, fall, but it does have very seasonal vibes when you read this series. And it's another one I put on my list before and never got around to. So we're going to get around to Anne's House of Dreams. And in this one, Anne Shirley and Gilbert Blythe are recently married, or they're ready to say their vows and be bound as husband and wife for new life together. So they move away from Avonlea and they meet some new neighbours, some new characters. This is very much a character study kind of series. So it's a historical fiction. And yes, we have a whole list of new characters to meet and suss out their stories. So that is Anne's House of Dreams by L.M. Montgomery. It's probably also a sad read, to be honest. I always have few tears in Anne of Green Gables, so technically it's probably part of the first one prompt that we were. Animal on the cover. Technically my reread does. I'm going through the Yana of the Dawn series, and they keep ending on like bit of cliffhangers. So we're just going to continue on with the series this month, and that is Yana of the Dawn Volume 34 by Mizuho Kusanagi. And on the cover, I don't know if you can see, but there are cats. Kitty cats. 2 of them. And our little beans are so small. In this we are following Yana, who's a princess. Her father is killed and the throne usurped, so she runs away with her bodyguard, and along the way they discover that there are these dragons, or, humans with dragon powers, and so they track them down in order to help their country. Not necessarily to take back the throne, but to help her people, which she realizes were in a worse state than she initially, naively, believed. So yes, this is volume 34 of Yana of the Dawn. We're going to add that to our list. As I say, plenty of manga because my brain needs a little rest. So we're going to our final prompt, prompt 8, and it's going to be indie or self-published book. My own book, no. I do have one that I do have on my list, but unfortunately it's super duper long, and I can't do a super duper long book this month. We are instead going for prompt number 8, which is a book you think will be a 5-star. There are a few books 5 stars. Look, I could go manhwa or manga again. Let's be honest, they are always pretty much 5 stars. Sometimes not. It's a book You must all hate me because I adore this series, and any chance I get, I try to read it, or I con other people into reading it. I recently bought all the current books for one of my best friends, and I picked the first one as one of her she must reads this year. So we'll see which month she picks that for, but you know what? We're celebrating me as an author, and therefore I can celebrate myself with Loud of Cats Family. And this is going to be volume number 5, or novel number 5. This also has a manhwa, but it's not in physical form. So I'm just reading the novels that are released by 7 Seas, and this is by Yu Rohan is the author. And I love it so much. We are following Kale, and he is actually a real world person entering a book series. He's only read 5 books of the series and is now in the world. But he enters as a lout of accounts family, so he's a bit of a drunken, slovenly character. But of course he enters and he's like, I don't want to get mashed up by the main character. And there's a lot of, intrigue. There's political parties and also a terrorist group. And so Kale, of course, knows some of what's going to happen. So he sets out to set himself up not to get wrapped up in this war and scenario, and ultimately does get wrapped up in the war and the scenario because he's trying to help out his little allies that he randomly picks up along the way, and they all love and adore him, and he's like, I just want to be off here away from the war, not getting hurt, living a really rich life. But in order to do that, I must just set everything up. So everyone adores him because he's really helping everyone out. But he acts a little selfish, but his selfishness actually works for other people. By being selfish, he's helping. But I love the series. There's a dragon, there's Kale, there's a little dragon there. And the covers are gorgeous. And just, I can't stop talking about this series because I love it so much. So, yes, we're going to add a Loud of Cats Family novel number 5 to the list. And that is our 8 books. 4 of which are manga. But the others are full books. And we don't know whether we're going to get to them all this month. So let's go down the list. I've shuffled them so they're not in order. But we have The Earl and the Fairy, volume 1 of the manga. And this is by Ayuko, and the original concept is by Mizue Tani. And this is a historical fantasy set in like England sort of vibes. Then we have Yana of the Dawn, volume 34 by Mizuho Kusanagi. This is another historical fantasy. Then we have Twisted-Wonderland, Book of Heart's Labule, manga, volume 2, which is by Yana, Toboso, Wakana, Hazuki, and Sumire, Kowono. It's like an otherworldly contemporary fantasy-ish thing. Pride and Peril, book 1 of the Mr. and Mrs. Darcy Mysteries by Carrie, Bebris. This is a historical mystery. Then we have Anne's House of Dreams by L.M. Montgomery, book 5 of the Anne of Green Gables series, and this is a historical fiction, literary fiction, I believe. Then we have Loud of Cats Family by Yu Rohan. This is a isekai fantasy world. Did I say it was number 5 in the Loud of Cats Family series? By His Grace and Favour by Christina Dudley, which is a historical romance, Regency romance. It is book 1 of the Lord Dare's Dependents series. And then we have The Lies of Vampires and Slayers by K.M. Shea. It is book 1 in the Magic on Main Street series and series 4 of the Magiford Supernatural series collection. And it is an urban fantasy supernatural romance. So those are our 8 books for March. I'm looking forward to actually doing some reading between all my other business stuff that I have to achieve. As I say, most of it is done. It's just some last minute fixes, and then preparing for a local author event and trying not to crash with a chronic illness. I think giving myself permission just to have some manga really helps out. I think it does. Because I can look at pictures and not focus on lines of words. Because when I am fatigued, the words I cannot understand. My brain is like, sorry, what? I'm like, we know how to read. And my brain's just like, no. I don't recall ever being able to read. Ever. I tried a children's book, like a kid's book, the other day for my nephews. And they were all just, I was like, what is this? How does one pronounce words? And my nephews were like, what are you doing all of a sudden? You can't read? I was the only one putting pressure on myself to read. I could have made up something and they wouldn't have known. They would have, but there we go. That's our little stack. Woo! So I'm gonna close by once again plugging my book. Zara's Blade by Hannah A. Finch. Book 1 of the Umberland series. It is a historical fantasy. Perfect for ages 15 up. There is no spice and no coarse language. And it's fun. There is a, animal companion. There's found family. There's banter. And that's enough marketing from me. So, thank you everyone. Let me know what you're reading in the month of March. And I'll see you throughout the month. Until next time. Peace.
T26